نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم इंतहाई मोहतरम और मुकर्रम मेरे बुजुर्गों नौजवान साथियों my respected elders and brothers inshallah for approximately 10 minutes we'll continue our dars fiqh that's happening every day in regards to some important Islamic laws. So far, what we have covered in our daily dars, some of the important aspects in regards to the fasting, things which break the fast, things which do not break the fast, some of the current masail using the medication, blood test, etc. All of these we have covered. Very soon we'll have people coming for the i'tikaf in the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the masajid. People will be doing i'tikaf. I'tikaf in itself is one of the greatest ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's an ibadat which has been observed and performed for a very, very long time. And it is performed by the Anbiya Kiram themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He commanded Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to clean the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal stated, أن طهر بيتي للطائفين والعاكفين والركع السجود. O Ibrahim, you should clean the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For whom? للطائفين, those who will come to do tawaf of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. والعاكفين, and for those who will do i'tikaf. So i'tikaf is an ibadat which is most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because a person leaves everything behind, a person leaves everything at home and comes inside the masjid of Allah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what the definition of i'tikaf is. The definition is, i'tikaf की नीयत से अल्लाह के वास्ते मस्जिद में ठहरने का नाम i'tikaf है. When a person stays inside the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the intention of staying for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is i'tikaf. Now, what is the benefit of i'tikaf? Rasul Akram sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, he himself in Sahihain, in Bukhari and Muslim, Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, she narrated that Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, every year for last 10 days of Ramadan, he used to do i'tikaf in Masjidun Nabawi. Huzur sallallahu alaihi wasallam had this habitual practice every year in the month of Ramadan. Last 10 days, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would stay in Masjidul Nabawi and do i'tikaf. So it's a great sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. What is the reward that Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam has stated? i'tikaf ka sawab Huzur ne kya farmaya? Huzur alayhi salatu wasalam, Tabrani, Imam Tabrani mentioned this in his book, that Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam stated, if a person does i'tikaf for 10 days for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah Azza wa Jal grants him the reward of 2 Hajj and 2 Umrah. 2 Hajj and 2 Umrah. Nowadays, Umrah has become very expensive, at least 2,500. Maybe if you have a friend or someone, it costs you a little bit less, 1,600 pounds per person. But still, it's a lot of money. You come to a house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with good intention to please Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah gives you not 1 Umrah, 2 Umrah and 2 Hajj reward. Why shouldn't we try at least once in a lifetime to stay for 10 days isolated from everything, isolated from social media, leaving everything behind and contemplating for 10 days in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, i'tikaf has various types, different types of i'tikaf. Yes, 3 types mainly. The first one is wajib i'tikaf. What is wajib i'tikaf? Wajib i'tikaf is when somebody takes an oath, when somebody takes mannat or qasam that, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if so and so of my obstacles is gone, or so and so of my need is fulfilled, I will do i'tikaf for your sake. That is what wajib i'tikaf mean. I mean, you make something wajib upon you, just like fast of mannat. When you make the mannat, or when you take an oath to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on fasting, if something that you are in need is fulfilled, you will fast. Likewise, that's one of the i'tikaf. The most familiar one that we know is i'tikaf, which is sunnati muakkida. What is sunnati muakkida i'tikaf? Sunnati muakkida i'tikaf ये रमज़ान के पूरे अशरे अखीर यानी आखिरी 10 दिन में किया जाए. So on 20th of Ramadan, before Maghrib start, before sunset, you come in masjid all the way till 30th of Ramadan sunset. Or if the moon is sighted on 29th of Ramadan, then until the moon sighting of 29th of Ramadan, you remain in masjid with the intention of i'tikaf to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is sunnati muakkada. The last one is mustahab, or in other words, we can class it as nafl i'tikaf. What is nafl i'tikaf? For example, you come for salah. When you enter in masjid, you just make the intention, nawaitu sunnat al-i'tikaf, or nawaitul i'tikaf lillahi ta'ala. The benefit of this intention each time you come in masjid. Now, for nafla i'tikaf, there is no time limit. It could be 2 minutes, it could be 2 hours, it could be 5 hours. So long you are in masjid, that is i'tikaf nafla. For you, it is mustahab i'tikaf, and the benefit that's been mentioned in the hadith of Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, that as long as that person remains in masjid, banda जब तक नफल नीयत की एतिकाफ से मस्जिद में रहता है, अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व ताला grants him reward for every single moment. Even if you don't pray anything, you just remain in masjid, you sit in masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you reward, even you just sitting inside the masjid, because of the barakat and blessings of the intention of i'tikaf. If we ponder upon sunnat i'tikaf, sunnat muakkida, this is more like sunnat muakkida kifaya. What is sunnat muakkida kifaya? Mean, if there is any masjid, not a prayer hall. Prayer hall is something else. A masjid which is intended to be the masjid for 5 times. Prayer hall is just a prayer facility. The organizers, they haven't intended for it to be masjid. So there is a difference between a masjid and a prayer room or prayer hall. Suppose you are in the hospital, in work facilities, they have prayer halls. That's not classed as masjid. Yes. So sunnati muakkida kifaya is for masjid. If there is a masjid which is intended when it was built or later on to be masjid, 5 times daily salah happens there, then somebody out of the entire community must do i'tikaf there. If no one does out of the whole community, then everyone will be questioned on the day of Qiyamah. So even if one person remains as mu'takif in the masjid for last 10 days, that is sufficient for everyone, that suffices the entire community. That is sunnati muakkida kifaya. Just like Salatul Janaza. Salatul Janaza is wajib kifaya. If no one prays, everyone is sinner. If one person prays, that suffices everyone. Again, there is a great reward in offering Salatul Janaza in itself. But if no one prays, everyone is a sinner. Likewise, Sunnati Muakkida Kifaya, that one person at least from the community should remain in masjid to do the i'tikaf. A person, when he becomes mu'takif, Sunnati Muakkida Kifaya will take 2 minutes, inshallah, then we'll leave for Salatul Janaza. If a person comes in masjid as a mu'takif, then everything that he does, it should be in masjid. He cannot leave masjid without any valid reason. His eating, his drinking, his sleeping, it has to be inside the masjid. Which means, even if he eats, it should be in the area where Jamaat takes place, not the area like Khariji Masjid. So suppose this entire complex, we class it as masjid. Even the car park, mosque car park. But then within masjid, you have two parts. One is called Dakhili Masjid and one is called Khariji Masjid. What is Dakhili Masjid? Dakhili Masjid is where people perform their Jama'at, like this place, this area where we are sitting, and the whole inside. This is Dakhili Masjid. What is Khariji Masjid? Any other areas which are in the building of Masjid or associated to Masjid, like if you go at the back hall, meeting room, the area where the shoes are kept, the area of toilet, wuzu facilities, car park, all of these are Khariji Masjid. So, for Mu'takif to remain in Dakhili Masjid when he eats and sleeps is necessary. He can go to Khariji Masjid if he is in need. Suppose he needs to do wuzu, he needs to go to the toilet. All of these he can go for Khariji Masjid for his needs. Now, suppose if somebody wants to smoke, he's a smoker, what is the ruling then? If he is doing Sunnati Muakkida I'tikaf, then he is not allowed to go outside of masjid to smoke. If he leaves masjid, if he goes, suppose, outside of the door and goes in the car park to smoke, it will break his i'tikaf. His i'tikaf is no longer valid then. So, inshallah, we'll continue with the rest of the masail. But i'tikaf is one of the great ibadat. At least every single Muslim once in a lifetime should try, sacrifice some time, and stay in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It brings enormous peace, it brings enormous joy to your soul, and it's a great feed for your soul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our sitting today, and may Allah grant us all the ability that once in a lifetime we remain in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his sake. Ameen. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.